SkywayTj, guys, and today, in our second to last week of Spooky Week videos, we are going to be discussing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and ranking all of these films. Texas Chainsaw started all the way back in 1974, and our most recent entry came out in 2022. Today, we're going to be discussing these movies and how they all pretty much went downhill as the series went on, but there are some few hidden gems in here. And Leatherface is an icon, so we might as well see all of his movies and rank them from worst to best. Let's hop into it. Alrighty, in dead last, I have Texas Chainsaw, The Next Generation, or Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It has two different titles. I don't really know which one's the right one. This one has Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger in it, and it is horrible. There's Matthew McConaughey is being way too extra in this movie, even for the Sawyers in this franchise and how fucking crazy Leatherface's family is. Matthew McConaughey takes his whole performance and amps it up to 11. There's this whole subplot that like they work for the Illuminati and they want to have fear put into people's lives and shit. It's so weird. There's basically no plot to this movie. It's so fucking bad. Like, at least in some of these movies I can find something that I like. I don't think I can find anything that I like in this movie except maybe some of the noises that Matthew McConaughey makes. But yeah, it just feels like it doesn't even belong, and that's crazy considering most of these movies aren't even that good. So yeah, bottom of this list is this one for sure. Next up, I have Leatherface from 2017. This is a prequel to the original film from 1974, and also a prequel to Texas Chainsaw 3D, because this fucking franchise has like 5 different continuities. But this basically shows how Leatherface came to be in this timeline. It's not that great. It's kind of boring. You watch these like teenage runaways from a mental hospital go across to try to escape police, and this whole time you're discovering who Leatherface is. I just can never believe in my heart that Leatherface was once this charming character who, you know, snapped and eventually became Leatherface or whatever. It's a dumb premise. It's just there to misdirect you. It's dumb. It's dumb. Following that, we have Texas Chainsaw 3D. Like I said, this is a direct sequel after the 1974 one. It shows the follow-up to what happened in the original one. Basically, a bunch of people came to the Sawyer house after Alice Hardesty escaped, and they lit that bitch up. They killed most of the Sawyers. A little girl managed to escape, and la-di-da-da-da, she's grown up now. She figures out she's a Sawyer, and she's inherited a house with fucking Leatherface in the basement. It's weird. I don't know. The CGI in this one is very, very fucking bad. There's barely any practical effects, and Alexandra Daddario delivers one of the cringiest lines in this franchise, where she slides her cousin his chainsaw, and she's like, "Do you think, cuz?" It's so bad. I can't. Following that, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022. This is the most recent entry in the franchise. It came out on Netflix. This movie could have been worse, I guess. I don't like that they try to do the Laurie Strode technique from the 2018 Halloween by bringing back Alice Hardesty to face off against Leatherface or whatever. They got a completely different actress to do it, because the chick who played Alice from the first one is, I keep saying Alice, Sally Hardesty. Anyway, regardless, they brought her back, and it's stupid. Ultimately, she makes a pointless sacrifice, and she's just kind of there again to rip off of Halloween. I don't know. There's also this whole subplot with like the main final girl being a school shooting survivor, and that just feels a little tasteless to me. I don't know. It's a reality that we're gonna have to live with. That this is gonna become a mainstream thing, like in film and shit. But like, it just feels weird. And I don't know. The whole bus scene though, where Leatherface comes onto the bus and starts wrecking fools. Yeah. That was cool. I like that part. Ultimately, it could have been worse, but it's not good either. So, next up we have Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. This movie is ultimately forgotten a lot by this franchise. But like, it's fine. It is forgettable considering I'm drawing a blank on most of what happens in this movie. But, you know, it's the typical shit. Teens break down, teens get murdered, you know, chainsaws. But that just shows the credit how much this franchise sucks. Because I remember a lot about all those shitty ones, but this one, not a lot, and it's still better than all those shitty ones that I do remember. So yeah, it's here. I'm sorry for not giving any other. It's fine. It has some good kills. Next up, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. This is a prequel to the remake that came out in like 2003, something like that. Basically, the remake of the original did so well that Platinum Dudes greenlit a sequel or a prequel to show how that version of the family came to be. This actually, it's pretty good, to be quite honest. It shows, you know, how those characters from the remake came to be, how Sheriff Hoyt got his identity and why he doesn't really act like a real sheriff and all that. And the family's actually good in this one. The kills are good. Yeah, I don't have really any complaints about this one. There's really good gore effects and everything. It's your solid story, you know. People come to the Sawyer farm and they pay the price. I think they're called the Slaughters in this version. Or the Hewitts. They changed their name like 400 different times, but they'll always be the Sawyers. But yeah, same shit. It's very good though. I do think this is a good prequel, all things considered. I do like it. That being said, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre prequel is next year. Or not prequel, the remake. I think this movie is actually pretty good. It's a decent remake. I'm not really a huge fan of remakes, but this one, it did an actual pretty good job. There's a shot in this movie where after there's a hitchhiker in the van and she blows a hole in her head. Spoilers, I guess. And the camera pans through the car and through the back of the head. It's a very cool shot, and honestly, almost entirely bumped this movie up for me on the rankings. That kill is so fucking cool. But yeah, the characters in this one actually feel pretty decent. They actually kind of feel like characters, and you know, there's good gore effects. It's actually pretty solid. I do like this one, shockingly. Second place, though, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Tobe Hooper, when asked to come back for a sequel, said he would do it, but he wanted to make a completely different movie. So this movie is pretty much a black comedy almost. You get characters like Chop Top, who is just absolutely ridiculous, and Leatherface, who has this like crush on Stretch. Yeah, after this movie, the series just went downhill, respectfully. But Texas Chainsaw 2 is a lot of fun. You got a lot of the same cast coming back to claim the roles back. The cook is back. Yeah, it's really, really fun. I really love the addition of Stretch. I do like Leatherface's stupidity in this movie where he has like this crush on a girl and he keeps like dancing at doors and everything. Chop Top is an excellent addition. I absolutely adore Chop Top because he's fucking insane. Yeah, this movie slaps. I don't know how people feel about it considering it's not much like the first one, but I really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I do. But I mean, come on. It was always going to be the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre at number 1. This movie is so ominously good. From those camera sounds in the beginning to the Leatherface jumping out of the door and taking Pam in to put her on the meat hook. All these iconic shots. Leatherface is one of our oldest slasher killers, and he's not even like most of the other slashers that we've come to know. While Freddy is an asshole and Michael is the embodiment of evil, Leatherface is low-key just a mentally disturbed young man who's often abused by his family and is just trying to protect his home. I like that. This movie actually gives some humanity to Leatherface in a weird way. Yeah, but it also just gives us one of the greatest slashers in history. And this movie, this was like Tobe Hooper's like first-ish movie. It's just so good for what it was and the budget it had, and it created this fucking massive franchise. And for better or worse, Leatherface is here to stay. So, yeah, number 1, the original. It was no competition. It's amazing. Well, guys, that was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ranked from worst to best. Yeah, overall, how I feel about the series is it did progressively just get worse and worse and worse and worse. But some of them have there are some decent movies in the franchise, and some of even the shitty ones have decent moments that I enjoy. Overall, it's not my favorite horror franchise, but I am glad that I watched all of them and got to watch Leatherface do his thing for 9 movies straight. So, that's that. I'm glad to have another horror franchise locked out. It feels good. If you like what you just saw, please drop a like, subscribe for more. I make videos every single week. Next week, we will be finally ranking the entire Halloween franchise. Good God in heaven. It's a lot of movies. It's going to be rough. But I'm excited to do it. We will see you then. Have a great week. Bye-bye.